Big tech's deception, fake innovation, data parasites, and the march to XaaS. Fake innovation. We all love the internet. We all love our computers and smartphones. So many of us just love all the things that big tech provides us, and some of us are techno junkies, addicted to the newest, latest, and greatest bleeding-edge gadget, hanging on every word that spews out from our digital demigods. And we just love hearing the word innovation when uttered from those like Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, Bill Gates, Jensen Huang, Lisa Su, Pat Gelsinger, Sundar Pichai, Elon Musk, Elizabeth Holmes, and Trevor Milton, as they display these innovative products, services, and ideas for us to be wowed by and to look forward to consuming. But you must understand that now, these salesmen are just that, salesmen, and using the word innovation in an empty and deceptive manner. And they are selling you nothing but fake innovation. Fake innovation. Anytime you hear the word innovation from any of the big tech companies, as well as startups, you need to be very wary of that word. Ignore all the fancy graphics and the subsequent technobabble. Innovation, when used now, is more often an empty marketing buzzword used to get you to pay attention, envy, and buy. Anytime big tech or a startup uses innovation, you should ask, what are they innovating? Why are they innovating? How are they innovating? Who are they truly innovating for? With products and technologies these days, be skeptical of big tech when they say innovation, for they are no longer creating real innovation. True innovation were things like the telegraph, the telephone, the transistor, the microprocessor, the Walkman, the desktop computer, the internet, cell phones, PDAs, iPod, and the iPhone. Things that did not really exist before in a distinct sense that truly created a paradigm shift. Like this graph of an asymptotic function, innovation grew at such a similar rate, and along the way, big tech made a lot of money. But now, innovation is slowing down and the curve is flattening. Big tech, due to factors of chemistry and physics, are simply running out of true innovative ideas. True innovation, novel innovation, is getting harder and harder to come by. Innovation now is more often a trivial function or feature rather than a true quantum leap or paradigm shift. So in order to maintain market dominance and profits, big tech has to convince you that they have reinvented the wheel, and do so through clever, manipulative marketing and pushing features that feign innovation, like YouTube's annoying ambience mode. Humanity got along just fine without having computers stuck into everything. Seriously, do you need your toaster connected to the Internet of Things, IoT? Do you really need a smart refrigerator or an app that reminds you when your apple juice is getting low or runs out? Are you really that lazy to look? And how creepy is it that there's a camera in your fridge surveilling what you eat? Does the NSA really need to know what your leftovers are? Do you seriously need Google to regulate the temperature of each room of your house? And do we seriously need everything in your car tracked and monitored by Ford, Chevy, and Tesla? And God knows what they're doing with your data. When big tech says that they have some new innovative product or service, keep in mind that they have entered into a sort of planned obsolescence stage, where they fool you into believing that they have something new and innovative and that you must have it. Because what they do is they make a software update that renders your perfectly good phone slow or incompatible. Big tech is now such an integrated economic force that in the pursuit of profits, they are now forcing this digital dystopia down our throats, forcing us to subject ourselves to biometric identification, face scanning, and digital currencies. They are forcing technology we don't really need, like self-driving cars and the Internet of Things. Again, not for our benefit, but so they can keep their engineers staffed, fabs churning out chips, and the shareholders happy. Big tech will convince you, the public, they must connect everything to the internet and appify it because of innovation, convenience, and in the name of climate change. So we must monitor everything. The reality is, in today's world, when a big tech or startup uses the word innovation, most of the time they are simply trying to innovate more money out of you. Data parasites. Let's start with some definitions. Parasite. An organism that lives in or on an organism of another species, i.e. its host, and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other's expense. Data parasite. A tech company that monetizes and commodifies end users and benefits by extracting data at the expense of end users' privacy and security. We use big tech and big business apps willingly, and now more often forced to use them out of market economics, peer pressure, and convenience. There is a growing awareness of how big tech and big business are spying on and tracking you, and how they are using and selling your personal data. Yet, there are so many of us out there still using free services provided by big tech because all you have to do is sign up for free. And, as the expression goes, if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. And let me tell you now, big tech is not your friend. The modern internet and web apps are now no longer for your benefit. Big tech has conditioned people to accept privacy invasion and data extraction out of the free and convenient apps they use. You must know that every time you use that free app, you are paying with your data, your privacy, and most importantly, your dignity. Allow me to make some analogies for you. I want you to imagine you and a friend having a nice private conversation at a restaurant or at the beach. You're chatting back and forth, and then some creepy person sits down right at your table or right next to you.
Hey, baby.
And starts listening in and watching your face. How would you feel? What would you do in real life if this creep just got in the middle of your business? At the very least, you'd ask, "Can I help you?" But I think a lot of you would be revolted and probably get pretty angry. Yell at them, push them away, call the cops, get up and leave, or even punch their lights out. You must know that with most big web apps out there, every time you send a text or an email,
You've got mail.
that web app or big tech company is doing the exact same thing that creep is in real life, except digitally. Web apps and big tech keylog your keyboard presses, scan your messages, scan all the photos you upload and share, listen to your conversations, listen to your streaming meetings and feeds, and looks at all sorts of metrics about you, your device, your mannerisms, and your search history, and puts them into a black box that you do not have any privilege or access to. They take your data and feed it into proprietary algorithms. They take your data and sell it. So once again, imagine that creep coming up to you in real life in the middle of your personal conversations. They listen in to what you're saying and what you're doing. They jot it down, and they take those notes and they run off. And now the next thing you know, you have some clown with a bullhorn yelling at you in the middle of the street saying,
hot dogs here, hot dogs here.
because your phone heard you say barbecue and charcoal. If your digital life were to be analogous to real life, this is what big tech and most web apps do. And tell me, why do you accept this? Why do you allow web apps and big tech to siphon off your data and make money off it? And then be shady and creepy about it? And then when big tech or a web app has a data breach, it's, oh well, sorry about that, oops. And then you are left to deal with any potential fallout that might come your way. You see, you are nothing but monetized data points to big tech. You know, they push all this computer and AI crap on people, not because we really need it or that it's innovative. Of course not. They sell us all this crap because big tech needs to keep engineers employed, developers developing, stock prices up, growth consistent, and shareholders happy. And as I mentioned before, all those big multi-billion-dollar wafer fabs out there run by TSMC and Intel, who work with AMD and NVIDIA and Apple, if those fabs are not churning out wafers and chips, they are losing big money, billions. Popular web apps and big tech are so dominant on the marketplace because you are not an informed consumer. They are not truly transparent with their practices, telling you their true intent and keeping you naive and addicted to their platforms. It feels like we are all stuck with these platforms and we just have to deal with the loss of privacy and monetization of our data, so we just stick with the devil we know. Tech today is not about elevating humanity or true innovation. It's about consumerism and profits. So much that big tech is thrusting a digital dystopia upon humanity in the name of said profits. Big tech is conditioning billions of people to be subjected to tech and having this mother may I mentality because of smartphones, apps, and the Internet of Things. And this is leading humanity down the road into this dastardly digital dystopia known as XaaS.
Uh-oh.
The march to XaaS. If you remember back in the day, you could actually buy the CD or DVD of things like Adobe Photoshop, Windows XP, and Windows 7 and 10. You could actually hold the disc physically in your hand. But nowadays, that option is no longer available to you, and there's a reason for it. Software in big tech created the SaaS business model, which means software as a service. No longer do you own the software outright, and technically you never really did if you read the EULA, the End User Licensing Agreement. So now you must subscribe to X company's service. And this business model was made capable by the internet. Granted, there are some benefits to SaaS, but they come with some major side effects. Expensive monthly fees, data privacy intrusion and collection, the uneasy feeling of what are they doing with my data, and being utterly dependent on their services and ecosystem, which puts you at their whims. If you are old enough to remember, Microsoft gave you updates for XP 7 and 10, even if you owned the disk and had a valid key. So it's not like big tech must use SaaS to make things run and stay up to date. Nope. SaaS was developed to make people lifelong subscribers and extract as much money and data out of people as they could, with the added benefit of centralized control. And in the past decade or so, we have seen big business take the SaaS model and mutate it for the real analog world. Big business wants to apply the SaaS model to control the supposed things that you buy and own. Many of you have heard about automakers doing a subscription model for amenities in their vehicles that come with the car. Yet another example of the SaaS model being applied to real life. You might have heard about this movement called right to repair. Do you know why a lot of people are pushing back against big business for the right to repair? It first gained notoriety about a decade ago when farmers had to fight against John Deere to repair their own tractors because of this SaaS mentality. And now, big tech and big business are trying to prevent people and third parties from repairing the items that they supposedly bought and own. Big tech and big business are force conditioning humanity down a road called everything as a service. Abbreviated XaaS. You must have this app to unlock your car, or access your air conditioning, or to sign into your gym, or to sign in at the doctor's office. Big tech and big business are now turning everyone into a gig worker using the everything as a service model. If your John Deere tractor, Tesla, or iPhone 56X breaks, you have to go to an authorized dealer and get authorized parts. You play your favorite online game, and then one day, that game company takes away all your cars or items and puts them behind a paywall. Quote-unquote, innovative startups want to sign you up for their boxed meal service so you don't have to think about your health or dinner. These things seem like conveniences to you, but big tech and big business will slowly try to find a way into anything and everything it can to make it into an everything as a service business model, even to the point where you have to biometrically scan yourself to get the basic essentials when shopping. Do you seriously want to live in this sort of big tech, big business, digital dystopia, everything as a service life, where AI and algorithms determine your everything, and you have become nothing more than a digital puppet for your digital demigods and their freakish vision of humanity? Big tech and big business call it everything as a service. I call it existence as a slave model, EAAS.
You are a slave, Neo.
In marketing, it was once said, informed consumers make rational choices. However, in today's reality, big tech and big business purposely misinform consumers so they have no other rational choices. And it is time that we change this. Am I recommending that we should all go back and start living like we did pre-1990s and before the internet? Or that we should go back to using CDs and DVDs? Or going back to the horse and buggy and living in mud huts? Of course not. That would be inefficient and silly. And I'm certainly not saying that true innovation is not happening today. But what I am recommending is that we start to realize and acknowledge how much power big tech has over us and how they are using fake innovation to mask planned obsolescence and cyclical consumerism, all at great expense to the environment, I may add. Thankfully, it's not too late to stop us from having to live in an everything as a service, existence as a slave world model. The first thing you have to do is realize that big tech is not your friend. They are deceiving people in what true innovation is and turning you into nothing but a cyclical consumer, taking advantage of you and your goodwill. The second thing you must realize is that there are alternatives out there to this entrapping tech snare they are coaxing humanity into. There are these things called open source technology and decentralization that offer alternative solutions to these costly and centralized software as a service model and this enslaving everything as a service paradigm they are pushing humanity into. You are highly encouraged to research the terms open source technology, decentralization, decentralized, cybernetics. If you want to stop humanity from marching silently and willingly into this everything as a service digital dystopia, first of all, start learning about decentralization and open source technologies. You can also help by helping this channel and helping your fellow open source supporters, programmers, designers, makers, DIYers, and solarpunks.
Can you hear my voice?